Israel has received more U.S. military aid than any other country since World War II. But the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is putting that assistance under heavy scrutiny and prompting calls for Washington to put conditions on the military funding it provides to Israel. Here's what we know about the level of U.S. support for Israel as it fights Hamas militants in Gaza. In 2016, the U.S. signed a record $38 billion agreement to provide Israel with military aid over a period of 10 years. $33 billion was for military equipment and $5 billion for missile defense systems. Israel became the first international operator of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, with plans for a fleet of 75 of the technologically advanced fighter jets. The U.S. helps fund Israel's Iron Dome short-range rocket defense system and the David Sling system to shoot down rockets fired from up to 124 miles away. A further $14 billion for Israel, proposed by President Joe Biden last year, is currently held up in Congress.
We're going to make sure Iron Dome continues to guard the skies over Israel. We're going to make sure other hostile actors in the region know that Israel is stronger than ever and prevent this conflict from spreading.
The United States has long used its veto power on the UN Security Council to block resolutions seen as critical of Israel. Earlier during the war, it vetoed calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Then, in March, for the first time, Washington abstained from a vote on a similar resolution.
Abstention.
Security Council resolutions need at least 9 votes in favor and no veto by the US, France, Britain, Russia, or China. Washington has also taken Israel's side elsewhere. Former President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the UN Human Rights Council to protest the body's criticism of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. In 2017, Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The status of Jerusalem, which is home to sites holy to Muslims, Jews, and Christians, has been one of the biggest obstacles to reaching a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians.
This is the moment British extreme athlete Russ Cook finished running the entire length of Africa. He started nearly a year ago in South Africa and logged his final day of running in Tunisia on Sunday.
I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew I was also going into the unknown, so I had no idea really of how hard it was going to be, but it's safe to say that it surpassed all expectations. But there's obviously been a bunch of times where it was very difficult. Sahara Desert, sandstorms, and pushing that mileage up for the last couple of months was really tough as well. But got to get it done, and the only way out is the end.
Cook can pinpoint his toughest challenge. It wasn't being robbed at gunpoint in Angola or even being slammed by food poisoning. It was getting kidnapped in the Congo by a gang armed with machetes.
The scariest moment was in the Congo when I was on the back of a motorbike thinking I was about to die. Getting driven into the jungle. That was pretty nuts.
In the end, Cook ran nearly 10,000 miles and made it through 16 countries. The 27-year-old raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity and amassed a crowd of supporters who joined him for the trek's final leg. Blake Warren flew in from the U.S.
I saw the post on Instagram where he invited everyone out. I was laying on my couch. I literally got on Skyscanner. I looked for a ticket, and 20 minutes later, I bought the ticket, and here I am. I just couldn't miss a crazy historic opportunity like this.
Cook says motivating others to get off the couch and get active is what his quest was ultimately all about.
It would be awesome to get people moving more. I'm a big believer in sport. Changed my life, so I'd love for more people to be, inspired or motivated to go out running or taking part in any kind of sport.
While enjoying a hard-earned rest is on the immediate to-do list, Cook says he isn't hanging up his running shoes just yet.
I've scratched the itch for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if I start planning some more things pretty soon. I've got a whole list of ideas.
the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land, in this case, the law of the state.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump said on Monday that abortion laws should be determined by U.S. states, but stopped short of proposing a national ban, an effort seen as a bid to boost his chances in the November election. In a video posted on his social media platform, the former president said he supported exceptions for rape, incest, and to protect the life of the mother. He also reiterated that he supports the availability of in vitro fertilization. But Trump did not back a national ban to prohibit abortions beyond a number of weeks into a pregnancy, disappointing some religious and conservative backers who had hoped he would pursue national limits should he return to the White House. Trump had previously signaled support for an abortion ban beyond 15 weeks, but on Monday said, quote, "Remember, we must also win elections." A call for a national ban could have hurt Trump's chances in the 6 or 7 U.S. states likely to determine the outcome of November's presidential race. Overall, 57% of Americans think abortion should be legal in most or all cases, a March Reuters Ipsos poll found. While Trump's statement on Monday aimed to carve out a political middle ground, it drew criticism from both Democrats who favor abortion rights and anti-abortion groups on the right, underscoring the divisiveness around the issue. November's presidential election, which pits Trump against Democratic President Joe Biden, is the first since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, which had given women the constitutional right to have an abortion. 3 of the conservative justices who voted to strike down Roe, which had stood for nearly 50 years, were appointed by Trump. Alluding to those justices, Trump took credit for the Supreme Court's overturning of the landmark decision. In response to Trump's video, Biden on Monday issued a statement saying, quote, "Trump is scrambling. He's worried that since he's the one responsible for overturning Roe, the voters will hold him accountable in 2024. Well, I have news for Donald. They will."